Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have another great couple of articles to read to you today, folks. Both encounters with mysterious, almost ethereal beings, accompanying other bizarre phenomena. But folks, let's read this first article. Red holographic figure encountered in Wisconsin farmhouse. Alien, spirit, or something else? Let's get into this account and hear exactly what the witnesses had to go through. Late one night in a central Wisconsin farmhouse, a mother found herself staring at a faceless red holographic figure wearing a strange Peruvian-style hat. Was it an alien, a ghost, tied to the nearby cemetery, or something far stranger that left behind only an aura of anger and disapproval? That is one incredible opening to this bizarre story, folks. Let's hear the actual account now and read what this, woman had to go through, as I said, and experience. Ooh. Hi, Lon. Decades ago, when my kids were little, I would stay awake late at night to have some alone time. I was living in an old farmhouse in central Wisconsin, east of Stevens Point, with my husband and kids in bed. I decided to indulge in a few bongs. It was not out of the ordinary for me, but then I looked up into the kitchen and saw a red holographic figure. It was a man wearing a hat that resembled something you'd see in Peru. At least that's my perception of it. The figure had no face and was not very tall, maybe about 4 feet, standing about 15 feet away. Was this an actual encounter with some bizarre entity, folks? From the description, it sounds like this entity was, that he was maybe of Latino or I guess maybe Peruvian descent, folks. But that's only because he was short and had what the witness said was a Peruvian hat. But the fact is, folks, that apparently this figure was also very angry. So let's get back to the article and hear how the witness describes, I guess the demeanor and maybe the feelings she got from him now. I didn't hear any sound, but I felt a disapproving and angry vibe coming from him. And then, poof, he was gone. Needless to say, I was frightened. I woke my husband and had him check on the kids and look around the house and yard. I got the impression that the being was disapproving, but he didn't move toward me or take any action. Some people might say it was just the smoking and that I was hallucinating, but I have been 420 friendly since 1970, and I have never experienced anything like this apparition before or since. Have you ever heard of anyone talk about red holographic aliens? I almost want to compare them to Greys, but do they wear bowler hats? The only thing that lingered with me was the feeling that he was disgusted, which was okay by me. I would mention that there was an old cemetery just across the cornfield and a road nearby, a ghost perhaps? L. Now, folks, maybe this was a hallucination, but, there have been lots of weird things that happen around people who sometimes smoke. Sometimes, not just smoking, but other drugs like DMT and acid can allow people to see things that are really there, but we cannot perceive them normally. Maybe this woman saw this spirit. Now, the disapproving demeanor of the spirit, folks, or maybe alien entity, was probably because he saw a mother smoking a bong while her kids were in another room sleeping. Probably he thought that her mother shouldn't indulge in such things, even when she was basically up late at night. Either way, very interesting. But let's move on to the next article. Childlike beings, tunnel of light in a bald humanoid, bizarre Tujunga, California alien encounter. Let's get into this account and read about these small, childlike beings and this other weird phenomena and this light tunnel that was seen, folks. That reminds me of the first article with the light being in it. But let's read the full account now by reading the opener for it. In July 1993, a California woman awoke to find her bedroom illuminated by glowing childlike beings who led her into a tunnel of light, an experience that repeated over 3 nights when a tall, bald figure resembling the mysterious Göbekli Tepe statue appeared, leaving behind a strange triangular incision. The question remains, what was the true purpose of these otherworldly visits? Wow. Let's get into the full account now. Hello, I was living in Tujunga, California at the time. It was July 1st, 1993 at 12 o'clock a.m. I was awakened from a deep sleep. My room was lit up, my big window was open, and I sat up in bed to look out. I saw all these small glowing childlike beings about 3 feet tall. They seemed very happy, and I felt very safe and not scared at all. My boyfriend was asleep in the bed next to me and never woke up. That's something you've heard about before, folks, where the experiencer will notice that their spouse will not wake up no matter what they do. So that is another corroborating factor in this story, folks. But let's continue. A little being came from a light that descended straight into my backyard. My dogs were there. They never barked and stayed by my side. I got up out of bed to see what was going on. I went to the sliding glass door in the next room, and as I reached the door, the little beings were there to greet me. I was still not scared at all. I walked out the door, but my 2 dogs stayed inside, which is not like them. They usually bark at everything, but they were very quiet and stayed inside. The beings were playing around me, and it was like they were having fun, making me laugh. They felt pleased and pulled me toward the light. They led me into a tunnel of light, and I went up into it. I don't remember anything beyond that. I believe this happened for 3 consecutive nights. On the 3rd night, I was awakened by a tall, bald man wearing strange white and silver clothing. He looked just like the statue of a man found at Göbekli Tepe. He had come to get me again, and this time I was tired and didn't want to be woken up. I didn't want to go with him, so I grabbed a pillow from the bed, threw it at him, and said, I don't want to go anymore. That was the last time I ever saw them. When I watched the TV show Ancient Aliens, I saw the statue of a man and realized it was him, which led me to decide to share this with you. I also had a small incision on the inside of my right ankle in the shape of a triangle. After this happened, he was bald and had very high cheekbones. None of them spoke to me. It was all feelings. L. And what can I say, folks? Elle's story is incredibly strange, and the fact that in this account she saw these ethereal beings, they really give you the same feeling as the red, almost spiritually, bizarre being that we read in the previous article, folks. This spiritual being who could possibly be a ghost, or even maybe some sort of elemental spirit, perhaps, of the land. But that's just the feeling I get there, folks. But most likely I think it was a ghost who maybe appeared before this woman because he found, that she was smoking these marijuana joints to basically be a very bad thing. I mean, she was living with her children and husband, and while the children were asleep in another room, he probably thought it was not right for the mother to be smoking such things, even in the same house as them. And what about these small, childlike beings and this tall, bald man, folks? They have this same ethereal energy they would say that the red, glowing man had as well. Maybe, he was angry. These beings were happy, and maybe they wanted to share their knowledge with this woman for whatever reason, and they took her. And maybe they also, left some sort of, implant in her, folks, perhaps as a way to maybe find her again, maybe to relay more information in the future, or as a way, maybe to remind her that indeed she had been taken. I mean, just because she has a triangle mark on her doesn't mean that she was implanted with some sort of tracking device or alien implant, folks. But I would not be surprised if she does indeed have one inside of her. But folks, what do you make about these stories? What about then these mysterious energy, or basically weird feelings that you get from reading it, folks? I mean, both accounts mention these ethereal, almost spookily bizarre beings, folks. In some cases, the man with the Peruvian hat, he really reminds me of the Hat Man. You know, the figure from Shadow People lore, folks. The one that's been known to basically wear a hat, much like this figure. You know, either a bowler hat or a top hat is what he has been described as wearing. So, maybe there's some sort of relationship with that as well, folks. But this figure was like a hologram, a being made of light. So, maybe there's no relationship at all, folks, but I get that feeling nonetheless. Also, maybe he was some sort of glimmer man, folks, but instead of basically being almost invisible, he wanted this woman to see her. So maybe that's it. Either way, folks, both stories are weird, and I want to basically check out more about them in the future. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.